Good evening, everyone. This evening we're going to be discussing employee empowerment. An American internet technology merged with Canadian social media to form a new company, which has yet to be named. And it's been discovered that because of the merger, there's been some morale, stress, and performance issues going on within the two companies. As the organizational development consultant, I am looking into some of these issues and trying to discover some remedies to bring the business back on track. I have spent some time observing the employees within the company during their interaction and communication, and I can also attest to the fact that there is some stress going on within the company. And it was my task to prepare this presentation based on my observations and what I learned to incorporate those findings into a company change plan. First, we're going to discuss employee empowerment. Employee empowerment is the process whereby employees give the the employer gives the employees and worker members the ability to make decisions about their work. They're held accountable for the outcomes of their decisions. They accept responsibility for the outcomes of their decisions, and they do the problem solving on their own. It's something fairly new that employers are now coming to the realization that empowering employees leads to a better business success. Individuals are considered a critical element in a company, and excellence is achieved by allowing members of a business to be involved in their own problem solving and decision making. So employees that are empowered to take initiative and responsibility for the functions of the business help them realize their own goals. Each member of a business brings their own experience, values, assumptions, and behaviors into the process, and it's how effectively these needs are integrated into the company goal and visions that will produce a successful operation. Empowerment also takes individuals from the attitude of where they're coming to work because they have to, or they need a paycheck, they don't really like it, possibly to an attitude where they're really invested in the future of the company and their own futures. They care about what they do because others are actually believing in them and wanting them to succeed. It's not just about a company's bottom line, but it's about the people and how they feel within the company. As we continue to talk about empowerment, it's also important to realize that employees are more receptive to feedback if the process is done collaboratively, involving everybody or others in the process, or possibly teams in feedback. And empowerment also leads to more engagement, boosted morale, employee strength building. Employees are accountable for their actions, and they strive to balance this empowerment and accountability with the decisions that they make. So basically, because they are being held accountable for their own actions, they are making decisions that are smarter, wiser, more effective, versus just kind of doing whatever decision they might think is the best because they are invested in the company. This provides them with that investment in what their actions create. And then one of the best tools for learning is providing employees with the ability to actually fail, because it allows for people to reflect and become aware of what they were doing wrong, or what they did wrong, or how they might be able to prevent that from happening in the future. It also prevents micromanagement of employees or the dreaded "I told you so" if people are being accountable and having that ability to fail and be comfortable with that so that they can learn and not be attacked by management, so to speak. You could kind of do a comparison of the learning opportunity of when a person gets divorced. They have that time to reflect after the divorce on what went wrong, what can they do differently, how can they learn from this, how can they move along, and not have that same situation happen again. So what are some techniques and interventions that we can use in empowerment? Well, employees with a higher capacity for performance, initiative, and involvement are more effective than those without those traits. Workers that perform at a high level results in enhanced organizational effectiveness. Engagement in the decision-making process leads to buy-in to the company's success, like we were talking about before. Reasoning behind procedures also helps provide understanding necessary to complete tasks with detail, not just because someone said to do it a certain way, but because a person actually is empowered and has that understanding of why it has to be done that way, or how it has to be done, or what's the goal, what's the outcome, why does it have to be done a specific way if they think that there's a different way that might work better. But if there's some specific reasoning, that will help them understand that. The level of ownership is created by an empowered employee. It makes people go above and beyond to provide customer service or working with others. They understand change strategies and necessity in business to be able to change and move and work with how things are going along in the process. People are also more skilled, involved, productive, and accountable. If you aren't empowered, that can lead to a low performance capacity, less confidence, more dependence on management for what they need to do and what decisions. They can't make their own decisions because they have to rely on management. And this creates a lot more frustration throughout the whole work process. I know personally, if I have to go ask everybody every time that a decision needs to be made, it can be very frustrating, especially when it seems like a simple task that should have an easy answer and that you can answer. So it's nice to have places of work that allow this empowerment so that you don't have to feel like you have to ask, to order a can of whiteout or something like that. So also some techniques, if there are some issues going on with, like, say, customer service performance, the employee might not have the appropriate skill level to provide the service, and that may be a lack of job satisfaction as well. So empowering employees to learn and train so that they can perform their duties better will help increase that job satisfaction. And empowerment can also give employees pride, loyalty, and commitment to the business as well. What are some empowerment tools that we can utilize? Well, like I was stating earlier, sufficient training. Employees have to be trained properly in whatever they might be doing. And then if there is feedback or performance gaps or continued issues, then the curriculum would need to be reevaluated to fit the needs of what might be going on. And again, training can be individualized as well. Some people are learners, verbal learners, some are written learners, some are oral learners, or that would be speaking. Trying to think. Anyway, there's different ways of learning, so you have to be aware of those as well. And then effectively delegating tasks. So tasks need to be assigned that provide enough information, resources, and tools to complete. We have to make sure we're delegating the processes out to people in the correct manner with the information that they need to succeed in those completions. Expressions of confidence, and that's conveying confidence to others as they perform their roles. Cross-learning opportunities, this is giving people the opportunity to learn about other roles within their company so that they can maybe step in as needed or learn things to advance in the future. Again, adequate resources, making sure that the employees have those correct tools and framework and information to solve problems. And then the appropriate level of authority. We don't want to give someone, say it's the janitor or something of the company, and we aren't going to give that person, we want to empower them, but we're not going to let them make the decision of whether we're going to merge, so to speak, with another company. However, you might give that person the empowerment to go ahead and come in on the weekends to clean versus during the weekdays, because it's more convenient for that person and more empowering for them, and gives them the ability to perform their job better. Some positive impacts from empowerment is creating effective team leaders, providing members with the authority to solve problems and make decisions. And this is all a positive thing, allowing people to do what they need to get their job done, like I stated earlier, without having to go ask if they can order some whiteout or something like that. Making those small decisions or even larger decisions depending on what position you might be in. And then follow up, it holds the employees accountable for their decisions that they made. And then empowering the ability of each individual according to their performance, initiative, involvement, according to what they can handle. You don't want to give people too much power if they aren't able to handle that, because that might be something that would set them up for failure as well. Positive impacts, again, would be rising to challenges and going beyond the regular duties, productivity, accountability, involvement, skills, those all increase with empowerment. And then this also provides fulfillment at a significant level. So people are happier, they feel that they're necessary to the success of the business, and that they are important to that success, and that they have the ability to contribute to that success. And then loyalty and dedication to the organization provides positive results. And it's also important not to micromanage with empowerment, and to provide a long leash and a short one for this empowerment as well. When we look at the interpersonal communication portion, organizations consist of individuals that have unique values, behaviors, or motivations. And interpersonal skills are a person's ability to interact with organizational members in conjunction with the pursuit of attaining organizational goals. An organization's culture also consists of the organization's shared beliefs, values, and principles, and culture within an organization is evaluated by observing the member interactions. So in other words, if a company has a good line of communication and empowers employees to be the best they can be, they'll likely produce good interpersonal skills and be successful. However, if the company practices, say, like formal lines of authority, it's going to be a structured, formal organization with a lack of interpersonal skills. And then if interpersonal skills are not adequate or sufficient, it can lead to organizational breakdown, and that can influence how the workflow goes within the company. So, for instance, if somebody doesn't like somebody else at the company and they don't get them the information that person needs to complete a project, well, now that's affected the workflow. It's been interrupted. Some other factors that are critical elements of interpersonal communication are emotional intelligence, and that is the ability to identify personal emotions and those of others. And then empathy is understanding the perspectives and opinions of others, and listening to seek understanding and not just to respond. It helps build rapport and communication. Self-awareness is behavior modifications to interact with others with careful reflection and awareness of how your own actions, mannerisms, and communication styles impact others. So it's being aware of how you communicate as well as how others communicate, so that everybody can help everyone within the company. And then communication skills, of course, is articulating your ideas verbally or in written format, and the goal is for the person receiving the information to understand the meaning of your message. And ineffective communication can be misinterpreted, so you have to be careful of how you are communicating what you